Are you ready, kids? Because I gotta be honest, I'm not sure Nickelodeon is. Welcome everybody to JG9 News, where we talk all things NFL all the time. I'm Jared Gear, and I'm representing the 904 from the 602. And today, we are talking about the announcement that just dropped today about the Nickelodeon broadcast for the 2024-25 NFL playoffs. We knew that they were going to get one game this year during the wild card round. That was announced back in August. And it is going to be the game between the Los Angeles Chargers and the Houston Texans on Saturday at 4:30. Didn't know before if it was going to be that game or was going to be the Sunday game at 1 o'clock between the Buffalo Bills and the Denver Broncos. I guess Texans-Chargers makes a bit more sense because it is a closed-roof stadium compared to Buffalo, where it has to deal with the elements. And if the game is being played Bikini Bottom, it's easier to get the assets to make it seem like it's being played underneath the sea compared to Buffalo, where it's outdoors. So it makes sense in that regard. But I want to take a look at the press release for this game because there's a lot that's changing, and a lot of it, I got to be honest, does not look that good. So if you guys know me, the Nickelodeon broadcast is one of my favorite broadcasts of the entire season. I absolutely love it. They do a killer job with it every single year since they started doing it. In the 2020 playoffs for the Bears-Saints wildcard game, I have done reviews of this broadcast every single time it's aired. This is now going to be the 6th time the Nickelodeon broadcast is airing. They've done 2 regular season games, 2 playoff games, and the Super Bowl last year, which I thought in many ways was better than the actual broadcast. You got better camera angles, a better final call, a better score bug. They did a near perfect broadcast, and that was the peak of alternate broadcasts in my mind, what happened last year. So it's a tough act to follow, and they're going to run it back this year. It's going to be under Bikini Bottom with SpongeBob and Patrick. It's going to be just like last year, which is good, except for one big piece. And that is, there is no Noah Eagle. No Noah Eagle on this crew for the first time ever, a Nickelodeon broadcast without Noah Eagle, who has a contract with NBC. I'm assuming he's working some games that weekend for NBC, hence why he can't do this game. So no Noah Eagle for this one. If you look at the press release, there are some other changes that are coming into play. Some characters from Hey Arnold, Transformers 1, Cat Dog, even Sonic the Hedgehog 3. You got the Loud House, Fairly Odd Parents, Rugrats. You have a Paw Patrol themed Skycam. That should be pretty cool. You've got the Submarine Blimp coming back. You've got Slime in the crowd, as there has been for the past few games. An exclusive sneak peek of Henry Danger. Cannons are going to fire Slime. Even Chum this time. We haven't seen Chum get flown from the Chum bucket, but they are going to fly Chum through the cannons this year. But the big thing, you look at the crew, it's Dylan Schefter on sidelines. It's Sandy doing some sideline reporting as well. You figure Dylan Schefter's going to be announcing the MVP and telling people to vote. Sandy Cheeks on the sideline just giving some random updates about the game. SpongeBob and Patrick giving their usual quips. And then Nate Burleson. And that's it. No Noah Eagle. So they're running it back without, in my opinion, the best part of the broadcast. It's like running back The Office without Michael Scott, or running back the Chiefs without Patrick Mahomes. Nate Burleson, he's not a play-by-play person. He's never done play-by-play in his life. Now, Nate Burleson is incredible. I want to get that out of the way. Nate Burleson is phenomenal. He is, I don't even want to say a rising star in the industry because he is already a star. He has done so much. He has been great. He was great on Good Morning Football. He's now on CBS Mornings. He's great on NFL Today. He basically carries that show on his back because it's very dull, very dry right now. And Nate Burleson is phenomenal on that show. He is really, really good, but he has never done play-by-play. That is an entirely different skill set. And one of the things with play-by-play is that you need someone to play off of. Doing it as a one-man operation, it's not always the best. Now, you do have SpongeBob and Patrick to play off of, but here's the problem. SpongeBob and Patrick don't know football. They don't know football in the Bikini Bottom universe. Now, in terms of the characters and the guys playing them, Bill Fagerbaki, the guy who plays Patrick, he knows football. He played the sport, he's starting coach, but he doesn't know the sport in character. And Tom Kenny, he is not a sports person. He's made that very clear. The very first football game he ever watched was the Super Bowl between the Chiefs and the 49ers this past year. So he is not well-versed in football. You got Patrick, Bill Fagerbaki, who is, but again, in character, it's a little bit different. What made the Nick broadcasts work for all these years was that Noah Eagle would be the straight guy. Noah Eagle would call the game. Nate would commentate on the game, but find a way to relate it to the kids, and he would throw it to SpongeBob and Patrick at times, having a conversation about what just happened. and they would provide little quips, quick little quips that would work and would not overstay their welcome and were very good. Now, Nate has to do so much. He's got to juggle so many responsibilities. He needs to call the game, which again, he has never done play-by-play before. He has never called the game before. He also needs to be able to throw it to SpongeBob and Patrick at the same time, all while making Nickelodeon references nonstop and making it relatable to the kids. It is a tough job. It's one of the toughest announcing jobs in sports because of how much you have to do and how many audiences you have to satisfy and how many characters and in-universe things you have to be aware of. And now it's even tougher because you have a guy that has never done play-by-play before doing play-by-play on this wild card broadcast with people that do not know football and can't exactly help him out in that regard. You saw what happens when you don't have a play-by-play person. We saw that in the Cardinals-Chargers game in 1995 when Jimmy Johnson and Terry Bradshaw, neither of them were play-by-play people. They were in the booth calling the game. It was an unmitigated disaster. I did a video about that a while ago on JG9. You can click the link above or the link in the description. I will link that down below. We also saw what happens when you have a one-man booth. And this is, in essence, a one-man booth because SpongeBob and Patrick do not know football. Nate is basically by himself. He is a lone wolf here with no one else around him. And we saw what happens Jets-Browns 1981. We saw NBC try a one-man booth for a game. It did not work out at all. It was a disaster, and it was just very awkward not having someone to play off of. Part of what makes a booth great is the chemistry between the commentators in terms of how they talk football and how they relate it to the audience. And you're not going to get that, I don't think, with a guy that has never done play-by-play. So we focused on that, probably going to get some stuff wrong. And SpongeBob and Patrick are not going to be able to help him out and play off it because they don't know football. So I don't know how this is going to work. You're not going to get a lot of good analysis because Nate is going to be doing play-by-play and stuff to do analysis while doing play-by-play if you have to throw it to SpongeBob and Patrick who don't know football. And on top of that, they probably won't be able to pay as much attention to SpongeBob and Patrick's quips. Nate won't be able to do that because he's also got to make sure that he's calling a game and gets out in time. And any conversations with the characters that he has will be interrupted because he's got to do duties. So let's say they're having a conversation. Let's say Nate throws to SpongeBob and Patrick talking about something, and a guy gets injured on the play. Nate has to interrupt it because that's what a play-by-play person does, has to interrupt it to say we have a man down or something along those lines. Whereas there'd be a seamless transition with that before with Noah Eagle doing play-by-play and Nate doing color, and then SpongeBob and Patrick, you just have the side quips. But an increased role for SpongeBob and Patrick with no play-by-play person, I'm very, very iffy about this. The magic of the broadcast, I've said it for a while, it's not just the Nickelodeon characters, because we've seen alternate broadcasts for other things. We've seen it for Disney. We saw it for The Simpsons. We've seen it for Toy Story. The magic of it is not the characters and the universe themselves, even though the SpongeBob universe is great, and they do a phenomenal job immersing themselves in the broadcast. The reason it's great is because of the great chemistry that Noah and Nate have with each other. And now you are destroying that chemistry and having Nate be basically a one-man show in terms of people that know football on the broadcast. It is not, basically, this is not going to be the broadcast that we've come to know and love. There's going to be a lot of changes, and it's the biggest change. It's not like some minor tweaks to the graphics or some newer characters. This is a major, major change. You are losing the biggest part, the star of the broadcast, and you're making Nate Burleson, who was phenomenal, now have to work so many hats. I don't know if this is going to work. I hope it does. Nickelodeon usually does a bang-up job with this broadcast. I usually have nothing but positive stuff to say about it. I am very, very skeptical of this one. I'm very, very skeptical, and I'm hoping that Nate Burleson proves me wrong and that Nickelodeon proves me wrong, because not having a play-by-play person is really, really tough. And for Nate to do play-by-play his first time ever, doing it on a wild card broadcast with people that don't know football and in a universe where football is not commonplace, so you don't have any help alongside you in terms of knowing the game. And if you do have help, it's going to feel very out of character. I just don't know. I don't know. I'm less optimistic about this broadcast than I was in previous years, but we'll have to see how this goes. And hopefully they get Noah Eagle back for the next time they do Nickelodeon broadcast. I'm not sure. Again, he's under contract now with NBC, and he has got a prominent role on NBC, so I'm not sure he's ever coming back to Nickelodeon broadcast. But fingers crossed this works out. And if not, they better be getting a play-by-play guy for 2025, 26, whenever they do their next broadcast. What are your thoughts on Nickelodeon broadcast? Do you like it? Do you not like it? What are your thoughts on Noah Eagle? Do you like him as a commentator? Do you not like him? Nate Burleson, same thing. Do you think this broadcast is going to work without Noah Eagle and with Nate Burleson doing play-by-play? What are your thoughts on them basically running it back with Bikini Bottom? Are there any other properties you want to see the Nickelodeon broadcast with instead? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And that is going to do it for this episode of JG9 News. Be sure you like and subscribe. Help us the channel out a lot. And be sure to check out my main channel, Jaguar9, where we talk all things NFL history all the time. Until next time, this is Jaguar9 signing off. And as always, go Jags.